Okay, let's try this again. I was talking about my concept of qualifying it first. So like that should come first before anything, any functional basis, zero-sum means. So an absolutist can view it as, again, zero-sum means, survival, stuff like that, money is just a means to an end to survive. But first what you're trying to do is qualify your qualify it as in the contrivance state that you're part of, or again, like be objective, understand everything fully, think everything deeply, completely all the way, and then at that point then you can decide. So it's kind of the opposite of what we see in society. Society has this indignant, insistent quality about it that's like so sure of itself, and then this very sure of itself, so it's more just a matter of a zero-sum process, like how well you do or don't, and even then it doesn't do it full efficiency, it'll couch it, but it's like how well you do or don't practice a contrivance state, it's treated as false absolute, but also like how you overcompensate for it, or how you use bread and circuses and things like that, right? So think about it from this perspective. You have the infinite objective mind, and human beings are defined by thought and all of this. So for all our technology, all our achievements, all our relative comforts, shouldn't we be free finally at least to do that? Like to think and let the mind be the primary thing that we value. So in other words, it wouldn't be like some sort of a special outward thing or incentive to think. It's like, no, this is the natural state. Everything else is just a means to an end for the mind, which ends up being that anyway. You just don't realize it. People either lack imagination, so they rely on externality. So, when you're doing something like that, it ends up being the same thing. Like everything is thought or reaction to thought. So it could be favoritism, escapism, it could be entertainment, it could be anything, social contrivance, but it's all a reaction to your ability to think. So if nothing else, it would be where you just distract from your ability to think, you try to occupy the mind, you use social contrivance as kind of a placeholder, anti-thought, you use like gratification as a placeholder for your potential, right, being cut in half basically because you sacrifice to be a part of a collective. So what that means is that what that basically means is that you're able to again, basically people rely on externality and they don't have imagination, and so that's what it turns into, what I call the contest of contrivance. So it's a supposed absolute state, a false absolute state, right? So now it becomes a question of who can keep up the best appearances, right, with myopic framing and controlled, curated kind of things, presentation. Who can put up the best appearances so that we can best maintain the illusion of this being absolute, or overcompensate for it, appeal to ego, appeal to emotion, so that we can in the end do the same kind of goal. So and then the other side of that is the fact that basically problem with it becomes the fact that ego like doesn't allow people to see things objectively. It'll always be like in their own term. There can be no absolute measure like what I talk about, where it's like, oh, it's all working towards one goal, and like we sacrifice everything to do it. Amalgam theory, no, it's like very conditional, very limited. You're right, non-invasive self, dependent over standard pretense. It's really about the self and the individual, right? Not anything else. What other concepts can I discuss here? Basically, there's a lot of different topics to cover, but one of them we can do is, again, like I was talking about, qualify it first, right? That's kind of a big thing. And it's kind of like the unwilling vessel that I talk about kind of being or presenting, that, like, you know, to be aware of it is not to be above it, and like I could try to be objective, and that I'm just a vessel of objectivity. I don't want anything for it. It's not an ego thing. It's nothing. It's just like, okay, you're trying to observe objective reality versus contrivance, and then you can decide for yourself what's useful or not to do. But there's a difference, like, where one would be claiming it somehow. Understanding that you have to have is the fact that everyone kind of wants the surface level, or that's what they see, not the larger process that controls them. And so they'll kind of never put an end to it that way, and then everything is like a conflict of contrivance that I talk about. Everything is man-made. So you're struggling against that, and you're kind of what else? Okay, I'll take a break again. I can't keep doing this.